This is Pros Talking Prose. This is an interrupt your regularly scheduled program to give you this announcement. If you haven't already been aware of this, you should be. And there's some, let's give course of action for you. If you are an author, I want to give you some options here and some things you guys can do to combat this and or protect yourself. Just in December, right, is when Amazon dropped this
Right. Just December was the Amazon announcement.
Okay.
Apparently, it's become widespread enough. Dave Chesson of Kindlepreneur wrote a piece about it today. We'll link that in the
description.
description below.
What has happened? So what has happened is that Kindle has launched an AI inside of the app that will kind of give you a, search the book option, and it can give you like probably AI generated, like summarize this chapters, even like ask the book about certain things in the book. Maybe you could probably even ask the AI, what does this mean? And it will give you its interpretation.
You can.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the Cliff Notes version of on steroids. But one of the things that you should be aware of, that means that this is an AI that is crawling through manuscripts inside the Kindle platform. And just, you can imagine that there's a lot of pushback on this. And there should be, frankly, because there's no opt-in and there's no opt-out on this particular feature that AI that Amazon has rolled out with Kindle. So Kindle is saying
that we know of.
That we know of.
That we know of.
That we
have suspicions.
Troy and I have some suspicions about digital rights management, maybe that might, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But just really quick, you should know that this is as far as Kindle is, or as Amazon's announcement is saying, that it is rolling it out slowly. Currently, it's only in some best-selling books right now, right?
It says thousands of best-selling books, and it is only in the Kindle app on iOS, on Apple iOS. So it's not on your Android app yet, although they say it will be, and it's not in your Kindle yet or your Kindle Fire, although they're saying Amazon is clearly saying that's coming. I think they're rolling out to see reaction. I also think they're rolling out to see if there are going to be legal challenges and what those legal challenges are. What I suspect is that we may find something in the terms and conditions that's been added or something like that when they were doing all that identity verification and all that stuff earlier, that basically says you allow their AI to crawl your book and enable it's probably in the terms and conditions somewhere, or if it isn't already, it will be relatively soon.
And the thing about Apple terms and conditions and the thing about Kindle and Amazon's terms and conditions is basically, if you elect not to agree to their terms and conditions, you don't use their app. That's just it. You don't use it. So, and so it's either
let's explain what this is really.
Okay.
And the reason readers might like it.
Okay.
And what it does basically is it's AI looks at your book, but it promises that it's not going to look any further than what you've read. So it's not going to give you spoilers. So you can't go, what's the ending of this book when you're halfway through?
So that's true. Yeah. So the AI is only reading up to the page read.
Only up to where you've read, only up to the page where you've read. This is what it says. And so far from the testing that Kindlepreneur and other people have done, it appears to work. And it appears to be fairly accurate.
Okay.
But it is true that, like, you cannot, if you as an author search something in your book and you disagree with what the AI said, you can't change its answer. Like, you can't basically, you as an author are 100% out of control of this particular AI thing. I mean, the advantage it might be is for readers who are reading long books and were like, was that character somewhere so-and-so or whatever? Or what was that character's name? Something like that. Or in the case of nonfiction books, it could be very useful for summarizing things so far, summarizing a chapter, giving you some information that you might have seen before and don't remember. And so it's kind of bringing that back to your attention when you ask a question. You can highlight things. It appears that you can highlight things and ask about that highlighted section. Probably even a definition. I would imagine that the AI goes out and crawls the web and finds that definition for you. So that's what it does, as far as we can tell that it does.
Right.
So far. I don't think we have enough data to really know how
Dave
in
Chesson
depth
did
that
say,
gets, but
yeah,
yeah.
and Dave Chesson did say that um the thing is that it's different than your lookup, right?
Hmm.
The lookup option is like where it's scrolling for the word, or it's kind of
Yeah,
indexing
finding a
for
word or
something, right?
phrase. Yeah, it's
But this is
indexing.
different. This is actually the AI telling you what it means, which could
Right.
be a whole level of confusing and
Well,
invasive.
here's what it does though, and this is my kind of concern with, is that it changes the way.
It could change
It can literally
interpretation.
change the meaning of your book. So it can change the way a reader interacts with your book. Now, this could be especially concerning for nonfiction,
Hmm.
because if the AI, depending upon the way that the reader phrases the question, the AI can actually give them inaccurate information
Right.
that's based on maybe a short passage in your book that, taken out of context, means something entirely different than it means in context. I'd be actually fascinated to do some experimentation with this. I'm not going to do it yet,
Yeah,
mainly because of
it
time
is.
constraints, but I'd be interested in doing some experimentation on this. I'm sure other people are going to do it as well,
Right.
to see what actually happens
Troy and
if
I
you,
were playing
depending on
with
your
it.
question.
Yeah, Troy and
Yeah,
I were looking at it
we're
tonight, and it's basically the way it's showing up in the app is like we said, it's showing up only in some books.
Mhm.
It showed up in, okay, so I own Holes, which was published by oh gosh, I don't know if this one was published by Random or um I don't know. Anyway, the way it shows up, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but up at the top, you have, when you select your page, up at the top, you can see this little added little star. It kind of looks like the Gemini star. And when you
Yeah.
click it, it puts up an AI prompt. And
And it has suggested
it has
questions
suggested
as
questions,
well.
right? And
Yeah.
like Troy said,
We can
that
probably have Sid edit in a couple screenshots for those of you
yeah,
that
I
are
mean,
watching this on YouTube.
yeah, I
For
could
those of
do
you
that.
who are not watching this visually and listening to it, basically, you
Yeah.
can look. It looks like the Google Gemini um, little symbol in there, which makes total sense for what they're. It's kind of become a universal AI type thing, denoting AI features. Um, oh,
The
yeah,
problem that
and
I have,
it's.
I'll give a couple reasons why I have a problem with this. This is a fine line of give them an inch kind of situation. When you give your teenagers an inch, they walk all over it, right? Like that's the kind of like,
Mhm.
this is one of those give them an inch kind of things for me. I mean, once you give an AI permission to crawl through your book and then make like it's like have its make its comments on the book, what's to stop that AI from, and I know people say that AIs are locked down and they don't feed into the open AI and all this stuff, but what's to stop Amazon from taking another inch and then saying, you know what, we have access to these books, let's use this to dot 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 dot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what
Well,
Amazon tends to do. I mean, right? Like world domination here. Amazon's constantly working on building its
and
empire.
all the large AI companies, I mean, the big question is, so supposedly when you use API and you isolate the text that way, supposedly, so if you're an app developer and you use an API, supposedly that API is communication back It doesn't feed that data into the training models of OpenAI and other AI models. That's what they say.
That's what they
But in
say.
the way we're using AI, we are putting a great deal of trust in these people who, like Anthropic, have proven they cannot be trusted,
And Google.
uh, basically,
And Google. There's
and
a
well, and
lawsuit.
Google
There's a
and
lawsuit
Meta
right
and
now with
all that kind
Google.
of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, all of these models have been trained, if not illegally, unethically,
Right.
right? And so we're putting a lot of trust in them that they are not using our data
Right.
the way they've said they're not using it. So that's one thing is, first of all, that we don't trust them. Most of us do not trust them. Now, what does that mean to us? Well, so a lot of us are still using AI or still AI adjacent on a lot of things, using it for marketing and things like that because
Right.
it does provide some productivity and some time savings and stuff like that. Although there was
Right.
a recent survey of CEOs that basically said, I spent a lot of money implementing AI and I'm not seeing that money saved in my bottom line. So there's some arguments about how effective it actually is, whether that's a bubble or not. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really matter. But the point is that it Amazon could very well be training on those books and not telling us. And we really don't have a way to know. Now, as an individual author, the thing is this, what this means is if you're 100% anti-AI, you should no longer upload your books to Amazon.
You should pull your books
Now,
off of Amazon.
and pull the ones that are there off of Amazon. Now,
The problem with that, though,
one of the actions we could take, I mean, the problem with that is there are many authors that a large percentage of their income, including me, that a large percentage of our income from books come from
it is
Amazon,
still just
right?
it is still the
So,
largest bookstore, regardless of this
yeah,
thing.
so a bunch of us could get together and we could
Push back.
pull all of our stuff from Amazon. And if enough authors did that, that were either best-selling authors or publishers who have large catalogs, if enough people did that, it might barely put a tiny little dent in Amazon's profitability, but it would hurt their reputation, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But so the problem is that the biggest problem with authors doing and taking any action against Amazon in the past has always been that there's not enough people that unite to actually do it
No.
because it's dangerous. And some
Mm-hmm.
of us are making our living this way. And it's like you boycotting your boss for the company that you work for.
Yeah, it's like
Like
when my
that
dad
would
was a
be,
union worker and you had to go on strike because somebody else was on strike, and then you couldn't work for the next month and a half because the
yeah.
union
So
was
you're
on
not
strike.
getting paid.
Right.
Right. Which is, and there's some good and
There's
bad
principles in
to
that,
all
but
of that.
it
There's
can
principles and
be,
good and bad to all of that.
but in today's economy and to the working author, that is a very
It's a
risky
really
and hard proposition.
risky and challenging thing to do because you
Mm-hmm.
have to replace that income somewhere else. And doing it through direct sales or through going wide without being on Amazon does make it challenging. It's not impossible. There's people that have done it, but it is more difficult because it involves retraining readers where they go to.
Right.
And especially with something like this, where readers may like it, it's going to make it even more challenging because you say, well, I don't have this on my books that you get from my, direct sales store. And they go, well, I like that thing, so I'm going to go buy it at Amazon because it's
See, and here's
convenient,
where I kind of
right?
disagree. I'm not sure that too many people are going to like it. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but when you're reading a book, I don't want to cheat it and have I don't know what the point is of
Well,
having it in there.
the
Like
other
it makes me
in
kind of
fiction books,
irritated.
in nonfiction books, it kind of makes sense. But in fiction books, my thing has always been like you can get away with a lot with your writing. You can get away with typos, you can get away with all kinds of things if your book is well written enough because nobody's paying attention to those things because they're lost in the story.
Right.
So if your book is compelling enough and good enough, I'm not going to look up anything with AI because I'm immersed in the story.
Right.
So it comes down to the fact where quality storytelling, and this is something I've been saying for a while about AI. First of all, the way to be human in the age of AI is to be human.
Right.
It just, and the other
Exactly.
way is that the better quality your stories, the better your stories are written, the well written, well edited stories are going to keep people from clicking on those things in the first place. Except, like I say, nonfiction may be kind of an exception. You may want to look up something from the book previously. I might not, I might even like that, except that I don't read nonfiction on my phone for the most part.
Well,
So until it until it rolls out wider in some other format, that's probably not going to impact
well,
me all
I
that much
kind
at
of
all.
agree. In fact,
You
I don't
know,
kind of agree. I really agree with Dave Cheston's position on this, and that this crosses a line. There's two things that really kind of make like red flag, red flag, red flag. One is Amazon didn't ask authors. They didn't
yeah, there
give
was
us
no
the option.
permission.
There was no permission given. There was no even announcement. Hey guys, what do you think? We're going to do this. Like there was none of
Well,
that.
and the fact that he just wrote about it today,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been going on since December 11th,
Since
means that
December.
it's just now hitting
It's
people's
just hitting
radar.
enough books that
So
people are
it was a
starting to
quiet
notice.
announcement. And if you go look at their announcement, we'll put the link to that in the description as well. But if you go look at their announcement, it is short.
Mm-hmm.
It is just in this tiny section of Amazon News. If I had not known to go look for it, like you aren't going to find
It
that. It was not
reminds
something
me
that came up and flashed on your Kindle,
it reminds me about what their little Audible scam that they did last year, where
Same
they
thing.
just, yeah,
Hmm.
it's just like this tiny little blip. Like we're going to just take our little inch and we're not going to tell anybody and we're not going to make a big deal about it because we just want authors to just lay over
Right.
complacently. The other thing that Jay points out in his article that I think is absolutely on point, like absolutely, is that he says, and I agree, that this takes a big shift from just asking, like, what is in here to asking the AI to get involved in how people are understanding. And we've already touched on that,
Hmm.
but that is like literally like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
that is not the way.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Dave Chesson, I'm going to quote him because he's been quoted in this should be illegal. It should be.
It should
It
be
should
illegal
not be legal to be able to have something as invasive as AI crawl through books without the author's permission. It
without
just
permission.
should not be
Also,
allowed.
adding interpretation is a copyright infringement because it's changing the meaning and even
Exactly.
the content of your stories.
Exactly.
I agree with Dave 100% on that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that there are some readers who will love this and some will hate it.
And I hope that
And I think the ones that will hate it is because of that interpretation factor. But I think before it even becomes a major issue with readers, I think that the Authors Guild and others that have this on their radar and are working on it, the number one thing you can do as an author is support those things,
support those
right?
groups, guys.
If
That's
if
your
they send
action.
out a petition,
Sign it.
sign it. If they send out a survey, sign it. If they ask you to
Join.
write your representatives or to write to Amazon,
Write
do.
them.
If this turns into one of those boycott situations, even if it's painful for you, join the boycott, because if we do not, in general, Amazon will then
We'll
understand
continue.
writers get vocal, but they don't take action. And by not taking action, that means they can
We can
continue to
just
do
keep
whatever
doing
they
it.
want. And we can
Mhm.
continue to complain about it, but it's not going to change the way they're using the technology that they have at their disposal.
The other side of this coin though
So,
are the people
yeah.
that are buying books. Like if you're a person who buys
Mhm.
books or if you're reaching a wide readership of people who buy lots of books, and I know there's a lot of us out there, but those of us that do, make your voices heard by not buying the books on Amazon. Go support
Yes.
the authors, buy them direct from the authors, buy them on other platforms that are not doing this kind of shenanigan and thing, and that's a new word for me, and make sure that you guys like are supporting the people that are actually putting this information and the things that entertain you out there. That's why I love indie film.
Yes.
I love indie books. I love people who put out the work and just and bootstrap it And that's what indie authors are, is they're bootstrappers. They're real live
Yep.
bootstrappers, guys. And
Oh,
and you are not doing them any help by just continuing to buy books from these big conglomerate companies that don't care about the author rights.
mhm. And I would emphasize, if you're a reader and watching this, or if you know readers or if you're an author, share this with your reader base,
Share this with
right?
your readers.
Is the thing about objecting with this with Amazon immediately and getting this reversed is going to keep places like Google and Apple from doing it in the first place, because all of them have the technology. Just understand that all
Mhm.
of them have the technology and the ability to do this. And if Amazon does it and it works, and you as readers participate in it, and we as authors participate in it, then Apple will soon follow, and so will Google, almost guaranteed. So
Mhm.
when we also encourage readers to buy direct from the author, what we're also encouraging them to do is to change the way we're thinking and change our behavior. So we're not buying from these big conglomerate stores, like Stacy was saying,
Mhm.
because they all have the power to directly impact our income, our livelihoods, how books are written, how books are distributed, what happens inside of them with AI and other things. And the only place we can control that is through our own storefronts, our own website, whatever that case may be. That's and Shopify is a whole different discussion that
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
not going to
talk.
go down that
We're
road
not going
right
to go down
now.
that tonight,
That's a
but
different discussion. But
one of the things I do want to,
Shopify is still one of the biggest. They're still a huge company, and they're doing similar things to what the big book
yeah,
retailers are doing, even when authors are selling direct through them. So
just be
that's my
careful.
warning about that. But
So what I'm gonna
yeah.
say, I'm gonna shout this to the heavens until I'm blue in the face, because it's a hill I will never ever come off of. You as an author have to protect your IP. Your IP is anything that comes out of your brain and goes onto paper. Yes, the legal jargon is written in such a way that your copyright is in place once you declare that you are copywriting it, and that it is now in a physical form, right? On paper or in a digital
Mhm.
format or in an book format, right? Anytime it leaves your brain and goes into a physical format. The problem is that Ruth Ginsburg has changed the precedent of this. And you guys, in order for litigation, in order for you to have any exercise, any of your rights on that copyright, including AI infringing on it, you have got to register that copyright. It is $60, folks. It is not tough to do. You just have to figure out how to click through the copyright.gov website and buy your own damn ISBNs. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. Just buy your own ISBNs. If you're going
Right.
to be an author and you want to be an author in business, then take control of your life and take control of your IP and protect it. Because the only time you can litigate against these kinds of things is when you, in fact, have taken those steps. So
Mhm.
that's my
Yeah.
mom
We need to
lecture for
have
the
an
night.
updated, maybe next week on the podcast, we'll do an updated thing about ISBNs
Right. We
and
can do another
copyright.
one. Yeah.
Because, yeah, we had an argument about this before, and I have to admit that I was wrong.
Oh,
So
I love hearing
I
those
know.
words sometimes.
I know. They're
Troy,
so hard to say.
poor Troy. He is sick right now, so I can't even gloat that much because I feel bad for
Yeah.
him. He's not feeling good. But
That's why
anyway,
I'm drinking my tea through this
yeah,
whole thing. It's
drink your
trying to
tea.
survive.
Drink your tea. But anyway, so yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and read Kindlepreneur's web. I'll drop it in the explanation or description down below. Also, you can go read Amazon's announcement about this, and then like Troy said, sorry about the dogs. There was somebody in my house earlier. They're letting me know. They're running through the house.
Yes.
They got to tell me there was somebody
They've
here.
got to let you know. Yes.
See, they smell something. Okay, yeah, there was somebody here. He's gone. Anyway, so what I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted by my little mice catchers is that you can go support these groups like the Alliance, like the Authors Guild, like the what else is out there? Like independent publishers,
I'm sure I'm sure
IPP. Yeah.
Ally, IBPA, and the Authors Guild will all be involved with this. I'm sure Nink, if you're a member of Nink, I'm
Yeah.
sure will be involved as well. Um, so support those
Support
organizations
those
with not only
organizations.
with your membership, but just when they put out a call for you to take some kind of an action, take that
Right.
action,
Exactly.
because that's the way we're gonna
That's what we're
gonna
going to fight
navigate
this.
this stuff.
Right. And I just sent out a newsletter today, actually, to my audience. And I don't know if you saw that, Troy, but there was a little bit of a
Yes, I
blip in
did.
Publishers Weekly about a couple of bigger publishers joining the AI lawsuit against Google, and to make that
Yes.
case law a
Well,
little
yeah,
bit
and there's another
bigger.
one. We could talk about some of this litigation too, because there's another one of a group of authors that is rejecting the Anthropic settlement and asking for more money
Okay.
and to actually
To
expand
actually,
the
yeah.
class,
The
to
reason
expand the
that's a good
class of
idea,
authors.
the reason that's a good idea is because it will set a precedent, and there will be a like what Ruth Ginsburg did, right? Like there's going to be a case law
Yeah,
that can
we're
be
going to set
cited,
precedent,
and
precedent of case law.
that would be good.
Um, so
Um,
there's, yeah, that, and that's a whole,
that's a
that's
whole
just a
other
whole other
discussion as
topic.
well. But
Um,
again, like take control of your IP. One of the things that Troy and I were hinting at earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and just drop this little bomb at the end of this before we close, because it's not validated. Like we have not been able to like
we don't have enough
confirm
data,
this. We don't have enough
basically.
data, right? But one of the
We haven't
things
done a
that
wide enough
happened,
study.
right? One of the things that happened a couple months ago is that we noticed the way that when you publish your books on KDP, there was a notice that came up on the DRM that made it mandatory to answer that question. It didn't used to be. It used to default to no. And then, but if you didn't do any action, then it just kind of like, it didn't say anything. Now it does. If there's like a little pop up or something that will say you need to answer this question, you need to understand what digital rights management is. Digital rights management is in fact an encryption that protects your IP on that device only. So basically that means like if you're on the Kindle platform and you elect to have DRM, that means it locks down your data, the ones and zeros that make up your book. It locks it down inside that platform, and it prevents it from being downloaded into another platform or in another format, meaning they can't download it as a PDF, they can't download it as an EPUB, and they can't share it, or they can't like pirate it, which is basically what that is. It's pirating. So it locks that down. So that's what DRM is. That's what DRM has always been. There was a movement against it for a while where that really like muddied the waters and made people think that if they were in DRM, if they elected to have DRM, they were squashing freedom of speech. And that was totally not what it was. It was actually just preventing your book from being pirated. And when you are selling books for a living and you are a working author, you need to make sure that you are getting paid on your work, right? You don't want it pirated. So that's what DRM is. So when you are setting up your books on platforms and they give you the option for DRM, say yeah, because we have a feeling that maybe the DRM in some way might have something to do with keeping that AI option for they. And if it doesn't, they may use it in the future and use it as an election to opt, for opt in and opt out of this, because this would be the perfect way to do that. So just be aware that you should elect for DRM. And it may have something to do with that little star showing up on your book. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
We're not sure, but it could.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's
We'll
all we
find
have
out.
for tonight.
Yeah.
That's our breaking news. You can return to your regularly scheduled programming. And watch
Already
us.
in progress.
Already in progress. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like we're the president. Sure. And then
Yeah.
you can watch us on Saturdays. The president's on. He's on every channel.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, you can watch us on Saturdays, Pros Talking Prose, where we talk about business. This week we're talking about crafts, so you should tune in. It's gonna be freaking awesome. But anyway, and Troy hopefully will be better next week, and we can talk more about some other fun stuff. All right. Thanks,
For
everybody.
sure.
Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.